So we're back over on this guy, if you've watched any videos on the Mini 25. And there's a few bits and pieces that have come up over the last year or so of running this, and now that it's tucked up for the winter, yeah, we've got, as I say, a few side quests to get through. I'm going to pull the engine out because there's a few bits around the engine and the diff and things that I want to check over. So need to do a bit of work. First up, removal of the intake system. So on this car, it's the separate manifold and carburetor and K&N can all come out as one. So just clamp it off the fuel line and we'll fish him out. What we're going to need to do then, first off, I like to just take out, because it's a stage 1 kit, the carburetor and inlet manifold. So that means disconnecting these two lines, the vacuum line and then this breather, and then depending on your filter you may have to take that off first, and then you can reach in and basically unbolt the manifold. Now what I've done, because it's stage 1, I've actually taken out all the studs, so just double nutted them and then removed each stud. So let's have a look at the parts yard over here. So obviously we've got the manifold, we'll need gaskets replacing on the back here, obviously the main gasket that goes on the front here. So then we've got all the studs and we've got the air filter. I'll prop the carb up somewhere else. Next step for me then is fluids. I'm going to take the oil so we can pull the drive shafts, and we're going to take the water out of the engine as well. So this is always good if you cut the top off of something like a 5 litre, and then basically you can try and catch as much as you can in there. I usually put that in there as well just in case I miss. These are really work well because once that's full of oil, you keep it on its side, you can unscrew the lid and you can pour the oil out into a different container. Got the jack under here, under the passenger side. So what that does, just put the engine on a slight tilt this way and it helps the oil run down to the oil drain. Sump plug down here. So we're going to go ahead and we'll just slide this under, and then we'll take the sump plug out and then we'll leave it for a while draining. Right, see if we can keep our fingers clean. Pop the socket on. What do you think? Will I succeed? Looks pretty good. Can't see loads of hair on there. We'll clean it up in a minute. Right, let's let that drain. This is everything that was on the sump plug. I can't actually see any metal in there. It's only done a couple of thousand since the change, so yeah, not worried. So I'm not sure how well that comes out on camera there, but you can see it's not completely black, still got a little bit of amber to it, so not completely used up, but anyway, obviously probably going to change that out. And then you can see our 5 litre container is almost full, and we just pump the jack up a little bit more to. We got our oil draining out there then nicely. So the astute of you will have noticed I've removed the grille, just a few screws along the top and down the cheeks, or whatever you want to call them. I actually drained it from this because it's a Mini Spares Evo radiator, but if you don't have this, probably going to want to take off the top hose, sorry, bottom hose. Take off the bottom hose right down there, you need a long screwdriver. You can see that Jubilee clip there, and then you can pop off the bottom hose. Zoom in on that one just there. Take off your radiator cap. If you don't take off your radiator cap, the water doesn't tend to fall out very easily. Okay, now we're drained of the oil and the water. It's going to undo the heater tap adjuster, and then we can take off water to the heater and then water back from the heater, so we can disconnect these two. So once we've got that done, probably next to do the alternator, we'll remove him, and then we'll remove some of the wiring just to get that out of the way. So yeah, let's undo that, and then the alternator. So this one's off, and that one there's off. Just tucked him down the back. Next up, you need to take out this, if you've got this kind of car. Basically get this wheel out, get underneath here, pull the pipe off, and then I've had to just take my horn away and push my coil through. That should give us enough room. So it gets tight on the back of the coil there, you see. That should just about give you enough room to take him out. In a minute we'll deal with the clutch slave cylinder, but I'm going to, while I've got this wheel off, I'm going to crack this ball joint here, and so just in there, and that's just the top ball joint. So then we can do the pot joint from the diff and pull the drive shaft a little bit, and while we're under there we'll do the we'll drift out the pin for the gear linkage. Right, ball joint released. If you've got someone who can hold it kind of in that position, then great, but I've just put a jack and a bit of wood there. Hopefully that will hold it roughly in the right place, so I can undo the pot joint from the inside. So drifting out the pin, you need to put the car into first or third gear. See the pin sticking out here. A bit more to go, but third and first, pull the linkage away from the gearbox and away from the diff, meaning you can just about get your drift in there. Next up will be this pot joint here, which will be separating from that, and I'll get tools into that gap. I'll show you that in a moment. There we are then. I've also had to take the nut and bolt out, obviously this bracket here. We just released this bolt, which meant we could push the exhaust over this way, and then we were able to extract the long bolt. Right, pot joint. For the pot joint then, I'm going to use a combination of these three. Basically what you need to do is get into the gap, but you want as wide a purchase as you can, so you're not damaging the diff housing surfaces, mating faces. So I'm going to put that quite far up, and then we'll use this one, you know, on the bottom semicircle. So imagine it's this wheel here, and then that will just slide in there, and then basically we'll just knock it with bumps like that, and then if you're lucky you'll hear the pot. It's just a spring clip basically. You'll hear it unseat and pop out. Right, if you can see, but with a screwdriver way up the top there, and this sort of crowbar at the bottom, we've just bumped it like that, and now the pot joint is actually the pot joint's pulled away, so we basically just need to pull on the drive shaft a bit and that pot joint and make sure it's clear. So look at the gap here, and nearly get my finger in there, whereas this one obviously is still mated up against it. So we'll have to release that one in a minute, but first I'll have to do the ball joint on the other wheel. While we're down here then, we'll just get this bottom engine steady, 9/16, undo that. We'll also obviously be doing the engine mounts up here in a little while. We'll come back to those. Just disconnecting the starter motor cable from the solenoid here. I'll tuck him up there out the way. And then next thing in this area, I'm going to retrieve these 2 bolts. That one on the back side is really hard to get to. And then the plunger will come out, or you can take the clevis pin down there. Either way, and then the clutch slave can just be tucked up out the way. So he's next. So next up, we're going to take the solenoid out of the way. Just make sure that you know exactly where everything goes in terms of your wires and your colours. So we've got one there, main battery cable there, these ones here. So we're going to get him out, and top engine steady and earth strap. We'll take this off, and then we can go back under the car and deal with our exhaust manifold. On this one it's stage 1, so I'll just have to separate that under the car and then try and draw it up. Solenoid off the side then, and that engine steady out the way. Next up, probably want to mark up your hinges so you know exactly how to put the bonnet back on, and then we can get the bonnet away. And I'm also going to go underneath and separate the exhaust at the first joint and see if we can pull that out. After much fighting, we've obviously undone the exhaust clamp and separated the exhaust from the downpipe. Now I know from experience this guy doesn't come out of here very easily, so I won't be able to film it. I'm going to need 2 hands and possibly even someone else pulling on the engine, but I will fish him out of there. I'll probably take the bonnet away first though, give me some room. Okay, I got it out. You basically have to rotate it this way, so that it all has a bend on the bottom of it. I'll show you in a moment. You have to rotate it this way so the bend can then come up. This going onto this last exhaust port here needs to rotate here, and it can't do it if you've got the rocker topper on. If you take the rocker cover off, then you can just, and I mean just, clear and then complete the rotation and put it up. Because this, it's got quite a long, it's got quite a long tail on it, you see, so that doesn't fit when you're raising it up. So you've got to turn the manifold this way to bring it up, and as you turn it, that exhaust port has to go over the top of the engine. Anyway, that's just unique to me, or if you've got, I think this was a mini spares stage 1 exhaust manifold. Right, we're getting pretty close now. Engine mounts down there. We'll get the crane in, and we're just going to lift it. It's absolutely fine to lift it on the rocker studs. We've got the fluids out, so it's a bit lighter, but they are fine for just lifting the engine up. Right, just down the back of the engine, got to take your fuel pipe off. I've just blocked him off, and I've actually just removed this piece just because it's flopping around. Don't lose that clip. I don't think you can buy these clips anymore. Keep the speedo cable back in there. Talking of which, obviously we're going to have to disconnect the speedo cable right down under there, but that's best done when the engine is half pulled. So at this point, so you can see down there the pot joints are loose on both sides. What we need to do, loosen the engine mounts, get the crane mounted up, just have a check through whether we've missed anything. Show you the location of the engine mounts. There's one here with the 2 bolt holes and the same on the other side. Basically the back ones are very difficult to get to, so I recommend you get yourself a pair of these. You can access and hold the head of the bolt, and then you click it closed, and then that holds it under tension, and that allows you to undo the nut from the other side, and then you can withdraw the bolt this way and you can actually get it out, because these bolts have to come all the way out because they go in from this side, and if you don't take them out, obviously you can't lift the engine. These have to be fully extracted. That's how much there is to pull out, so you need to make sure that they are fully back before you start lifting the engine, or maybe you can lift the engine a little bit and then push them out. There's the fuel line capped off. Here's the speedo cable. This just twists on, this cap just twists on. Once you got the engine halfway up, you can deal with him because he's almost impossible to reach. So that's an empty engine bay, and here's the engine, and down there, right down there, is where the speedo cable goes. Here's one engine mount, the holes are here and here, and then the other one is under here, underneath the radiator. So you can get it out with the radiator on, with the distributor on, still no cap. Things that end up being really tight, this edge here on the back of the diff casing, and actually this here on the starter motor housing. These 2 little studs here can be very tricky. But there you go, that's kind of a bit of a how-to on how to remove an engine. Just to say, if you've got a servo, you'll have to take the servo out, not on this car. If it's an MPI or an SPI, obviously it's a bit different, a whole load of other stuff to take off the top. But there you go guys, one removed engine. You'll either need an engine crane, or if you've got rafters and you can move the car forward and back, then theoretically it's possible to do it with a block and chain. I have lifted engines off of subframes using these rafters before. Alright guys, hopefully that was helpful, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye for now.